Hello, everyone. So my name is Janalyn Peppel, and you are in the intersection of art and technology through XR. I am here by myself today, so I'm going to be admitting people and trying to monitor the chat at the same time. So if you have a question, please feel free to stop me at any time, and I'll be happy to pause. And I want this to be a little bit more of an interactive workshop. I planned to do it originally in person and have it hands-on. So, if you're interested in doing learning it and being able to do it and interact with the AR today, that's what we'll be doing towards the end. So again, my name is Janalyn Peppel, and welcome. Thank you for everyone for joining me today. I'll get started really quickly. So let's see. So my name's Janalyn. I am a teaching artist and also a graphic designer. I work with New Tech Now, which is a nonprofit, and we provide access to technology to students in rural areas, to after-school programs, pretty much any kind of organization that really wants to get into the makerspace environment or fab lab type environment, but doesn't necessarily have the equipment. So we bring all of our equipment into these different programs so that we can work with kids, and then we work with senior citizens, veterans. We try to broaden our reach to as many people as we can to bring technology. And that includes 3D printing, XR, and coding. So I've been a teaching artist and advocating for technology in classrooms for about 6 years now. As I said, I'm a teaching artist, so I go in and I try to utilize all the technology through an art kind of twist, but still, teaching STEM and really just trying to have fun and show kids how to utilize the tools and have a lot of fun with it. I work with after-school providers. Right now I'm focusing a lot on language arts and literacy programs and how to integrate the arts and technology into literacy programs. And then through our nonprofit, we have the Steam Engine Mobile Makerspace. I'm a professional development trainer, software trainer for CoSpaces, iRobot, MergeCube, Autodesk, and the Florida Department of Education. So I wanted to I want to start first by getting to know some of you a little bit. I want to make sure that this is tailored to the audience and make sure that it's not too elementary or too high level AR, VR. So if you don't mind, as I'm going through in the chat, can you just give me a little bit of information about yourself? If you're not comfortable sharing anything, that's perfectly fine. I just kind of want to get a gauge who's in our audience. If you are currently using XR software, if you've had any experience with AR or VR, if you're brand new to all this, that's perfectly fine. I'm planning to start from the basics, but if everyone is a little more advanced, then I don't want to bore you with just the basics. So if you can just pop that in the chat while I'm moving through some of these slides. This is just kind of getting an introduction to the workshop. So through new technology now, so the convergence of creativity through digital worlds unites communities and drives forth innovation. So this is kind of where we kind of project from and how we're approaching the whole makerspace movement and working with our students. So what I'd like to do today is, some of you, it looks like you may have some experience in AR and some coding, and okay, we've got some Unity, so, and Tinkercad. So you just so we're not leaving anybody out, I want to go over the difference between AR, VR, XR. They all get a little confusing if you're not familiar. Some design tools that I like to use and like to use with the kids, and then just use professionally, just because I feel like they're a lot easier for me to incorporate in my art practice. And then from the end user, for people viewing my artwork, how they can utilize those same tools. And then how you can use XR in STEM education. Some things I've learned along the way. I haven't been using these tools for terribly long. I've been using them for about 2 or 3 years, and they're obviously getting easier as the technology progresses, and they're getting more sophisticated, and I think they're a lot more fun. So I'm just going to kind of throw some tips out there. So if you're just getting started, some things that you might run into that maybe I can kind of help you avoid. And then we're going to get started. I'm going to, hopefully by the end of this, you'll have made something in AR or VR if you choose to do the VR project. And then if you've done things before in the past, then maybe you can learn a few new things and share with the rest of us. And then we'll do some just hands-on things that kind of get you comfortable with this technology. So just really quickly, if you're new to AR, so AR is augmented reality. If you weren't sure what it was, you probably knew what it was and didn't realize it. So Pokemon's probably the most famous AR software or game out there, Pokemon Go. And it's basically you're taking digital content and overlaying it onto a real world environment. So you're using a phone or a mobile device or tablet, so you can still see the environment around you. You could walk around, but you have this digital overlay. And so I use the Merge Cube a lot. If you're not familiar with the Merge Cube, I'm going to give you a lot of resources for the Merge Cube. I think it's a really valuable tool to have. It's one way of doing AR. It allows students to kind of as an introduction to AR. And then this is just an example of AR on a big scale using an art program called Artivive. So if you're not familiar with Artivive, it's one of my favorite really easy no-code AR applications that is easy for the end user to also view your content. And so I'll go into a little bit more about Artivive. They are a European company, and they're very motivated to help artists and give artists tools for being better creators and being able to just have amazing types of interface with engagement in the art world. So just some basic design tools. If any of you need links to any of these, if I go too fast through this, I will. So yes, I can write the name down. I can actually, while we're working and doing our hands-on projects, I'll have a list of all of these so you can refer back. So it's the one I just mentioned was Artivive, so it's on this screen. So it's Artivive. Another one that I like is CoSpaces. Some of you may be familiar with CoSpaces. The kids really that I work with really enjoy it, and you're able to do AR and VR. Adobe Aero is another great one. You need an iPad. It's supposedly going to be for cross-platform, but I think right now it's only for iOS. Ijac is another really great program that is inexpensive and great way to get started. One that I just found was XR Plus, and it's a no-code web AR. And I haven't played around with it a whole lot, but it's an alternative to Eighth Wall. So if you're familiar with some of these applications, it's kind of in that range of ways to build AR experiences. And then if I see where some of you are already using Unity or Unreal Engine, which is a little more advanced. So if you kind of move past some of the just easy applications you can use on your phone and desktop, and you really want to get into some serious design, then you would move into Unreal Engine and Unity. So the other component of our XR is virtual reality. So VR for virtual reality. And you might be familiar with Google Cardboard or Oculus. Facebook owns Oculus, and I think within the last few weeks, Zuckerberg has made comments that Facebook will be the next metaverse. So that just gives you a little bit of an indication of where Facebook is going and how marketing and these tools are going to be used, in the future. So it's just something to think about. You might want to go and do a little more research on that. So virtual reality, just so you know the difference, is you're more enclosed in an environment that is an artificial environment or a video or a 360 video. So it's, but when you're in that headset, just like when you're in a Google Cardboard or an Oculus headset, you can't necessarily walk around and see things. You're sort of just viewing that information that's kind of being encapsulated into that headset. So, so I have a little question about the merge cube. So CoSpaces is what we would use for the merge cube, and I'll get into that a little into more detail, because I definitely want you to understand how to interact with all these different, how the software interacts with different hardware and the merge cube. So if you're familiar with VR already, you probably know about Tilt Brush. If you're not familiar with Tilt Brush, it was owned by Google, and for some reason, Google decided they didn't want to support it anymore, which was very upsetting to a lot of artists. But the art community kind of pulled together and they open sourced it. So now it's actually called Open Brush, which may be a better thing for artists. You can actually design in VR or virtual reality. So you would need an Oculus headset, either a Quest. I don't think they support the Rift anymore, but you would need a Quest or newer. And I think it also works on a HT Vive. Another program that was just recently bought by Adobe is Medium, and that you can use VR headsets to sculpt. So if you're more of a sculptor or like using textures, Medium is a great software for that. And then industrial designers may be more interested in something like Gravity Sketch. And I think it's Gravity Sketch. If you have a educational email, you can get a free license for that. So OpenBrush is free, it's open source. Medium, I think, is actually free with Adobe. And then Gravity Sketch, I think, has a paid version. But all of them are really fun to play with and explore if you have the headset. So the reason that I enjoy doing these kinds of talks and making sure people are aware is because XR is coming. It's rumored that all the big manufacturers are building these new, basically AR glasses that would incorporate AR and VR in a very sleek device. So through these, this is Ijac, which is a company that's currently on the market. It serves mostly industrial applications for manufacturing. But if you'll notice, it's basically a phone, all the features of a phone or a computer built into a pair of eyeglasses. So you've got the batteries, you got a touchpad, haptic feedback, cameras, you can record, you can see, you can video. And so this was kind of one of the first success stories. And they've been in business for about 20 years now. But Apple is rumored to have their glasses coming out, I think, next year. And then also Facebook is teaming up with Ray-Ban to have their version of AR glasses. So the reason I like teaching kids all of these different tools really is to get them understanding how to start developing content and be prepared for if this becomes the future of how we interact, that they are prepared and they can design intelligent, programs or whatever it is that creative artwork, use it to whatever suits their needs, but that they are prepared. So moving on back to Artivive, I recently watched the CEO of Artivive give a presentation because, like I said, it is one of my favorite applications to use for artwork. And one of the things that he said that was interesting was, you don't want to create art that when you're creating art and using a phone or a tablet to interact with it, you're creating a barrier, basically. You want the user to not realize there's a barrier there. You want to engage them in the artwork, but you don't necessarily want to distract from the artwork. So this is one example where AR was used to enhance the experience for the viewer in a show by Ijac, where they took the story behind it was when he created the artwork originally, it was the color of the dress was, I think it wasn't the color it is now. I can't remember. I think it was a different color. And the gallery said, well, we don't like the color of the dress. We want you to change it. So he took the painting home. He changed the dress. Well, that necessarily wasn't something everyone that came to the exhibit knew. And it wasn't as obvious. But through the use of AR, they basically x-rayed all of the paintings so that you could see what they were originally. And then it enhanced the viewer's experience with the artwork. And so really, any of this technology should be used so that the artist can take visitors on a journey through time, explain what lies underneath, enhance that art with animation, or show how the artworks were made. So you want to just make sure that whenever you're using any of these technologies, that you do enhance the experience and not distract from it. So the other issue to consider, and these are just things that I've kind of learned along the way that I'm passing along, is people don't necessarily like to download apps on their phone. It seems like younger people are okay with it and they don't really mind, but some people, when you ask them to download an app, they're not too sure what's going to happen next. So this is just an art installation using Artivive where the device was actually part of the installation. So the user didn't necessarily need to, alter their phone. They could just walk up and kind of see how it works. There was also instructions. So if they did want to add it to their phone, they could interact with it. They could go home and use it themselves if they wanted. So, but just a note, so if you are considering using this type of technology in your artwork, some people are hesitant to view it on their own phone. So you may have to include some sort of device for them to be able to interact with. So, so back to education. So why do this, and why are we focused on this with education? So you can create immersive worlds where students can visualize concepts and learn new skills and information in an interactive way. So how can it enhance the learning in the arts? an authentic way for students to explore spatial concepts, allow students to tell stories in ways that involve the viewer, allow students to interact and build simulations across STEM, allow students to demonstrate, share knowledge across the entire curriculum in engaging and immersive ways, and build skills in conceptual understanding and technology, including basic coding and UI design. It also encourages movement in the process of learning, and movement is good for the brain. So before I move on, I'm just going to check the chat real quick, and then I wanted to go into dive a little deeper into some of the programs that are available out there, and just make sure that I'm going through the ones that you guys are interested in. So are there any questions so far? And if you have a question, you can just unmute or you can just type it into the chat. So, so it looks like we have a drama teacher. That's awesome. And you've done a few projects. Super. All right. And then we have a library, some VR, Unity, an artist and manager, no coding capacity, a math teacher. Oh, that's awesome. I think CoSpaces is actually excellent for math because there's a physics engine in there. A student, little experience. Okay, super. Hands-on experience, game designer, very little experience. Okay, I like that. I'm glad you showed up. And Inkscape. Okay, Inkscape's great for all sorts of things. And then prototyping, no hands-on experience. Okay, so it looks like I'll start in the beginning and kind of go to the middle and then if you have any questions on any of the other programs that I've mentioned, I'll be happy to work with you on that. And then Merge Cube. Yes, I can make the presentation available. That's no problem. I can, I'm not sure where you can either, I don't know where I'm supposed to put it actually. I'll get in contact with the organizers and I'll make it available to them. And then I'll leave the last slide up, which has my email, or actually I can I'll put my email in the chat right now. And then if you somehow we can't connect through the FAB organization, I will make sure you get it. And this is my personal email. So are there any do-it-yourself glasses could be fabricated? Oh, yeah, okay, so yes. So I'll go through the questions first. So the Merge Cube, I'm gonna show you that right now. The presentation's available. And then, so the glasses, I have seen on Thingiverse where you can download the STLs that you could 3D print. And then I think you have to buy the lenses because you need special lenses to go inside. But I've seen the headsets where you slide your phone in for like $2 and $3 because people just aren't using them very much. So I would just like you might be able to, I actually have a whole box of them in my garage. If somebody needed some, I could probably send them to you. But I think you could probably find them but then like the Oculus headsets, I just saw where I think they're going to start selling the newest headset for under $300. And those are amazing. You can, I don't know that you want to buy one for everybody in your classroom or in your Fab Lab if you don't have the funding yet, but they definitely are. If you can get one set to try, it's just using even Tilt Brush or Open Brush now, that's an amazing experience. So I would highly recommend it. All right, so if there's no more questions right now, I'll move on. So CoSpaces is, it's a paid program, and I'm going to type in the chat a trial code. And I'm going to, if you want to use, while I'm going through these, if you want to try them all out, I recommend trying them all out. If I need to go back, if I'm going too fast or going through too many of them, just let me know and I'll try to kind of go a little slower with them. But if you go to CoSpaces, .io and create an account there. And then I'll show you how to add the trial code. So if it sounds like a lot of you are beginners, I really like CoSpaces. I think it's a really good place to get started for VR and AR. And you can use the Merge Cube, which, and then if you needed to use it in your fab labs or classrooms or just personally, it's just really simple. So the other thing that's nice about CoSpaces is when I go into classrooms that have smart boards, it allows students with disabilities for everyone to be able to participate because it is drag and drop and it's touchscreen. Then we can all collaborate on a VR story or an AR experience. And so as you can see here, this is just drag and drop. And I'll just really quickly show, oops, I guess it's not there. I have a video of this little boy. This is his very first time interacting with CoSpaces with any kind of VR program. And I really didn't give them any instructions. They just intuitively figured it out. And so I work a lot with students with disabilities, both physically and just developmentally. And they love this because they can actually express themselves in a way that maybe they can't express verbally, but through digital design, they can share kind of what they're thinking or what they see or how they feel. And so this was a project that I worked on with the classroom teacher, and she had a list of vocabulary words. So this is very basic, but just to give you an idea of how you can use some of these tools. And so the kids had to draw the story basically. And then we opened up CoSpaces for them and they were able to recreate that story digitally. And it was amazing to me how similar and how you could really see the story come to life when, and you just could see so many pieces of their imagination, and it just was a really cool experience. And so, and that was nice for them because a lot of times they have trouble communicating, and it was just a really nice way for them to be able to communicate. So what's nice about CoSpaces, and coincidentally in the vocabulary words were, it was a story about their town. There was a police officer that had, somebody had run a stop sign and the police officer stopped them. And so within CoSpaces, they had a lot of the elements. And so this is kind of a fun thing. We imported the actual resource officer from the school. He came in and let us take pictures. And so we imported, so you can import photos, you can import sound, you can do speech, these little speech bubbles, and and they just added where you can link to YouTube videos. So in just a few minutes, I'll go a little bit more into CoSpaces. And I can, yes, I'll add some files into the chat for you guys. So there was a question about that. Another thing that I found just this summer was a book. Like I mentioned, I'm really focused on using this type of technology to improve reading in third graders. And so I found this book, O is for Ocean, and it's a self-published book by an author here in the United States, and I think she's in North Carolina. And she used Vuforia as the coding engine behind it. And it's really well done. It has some, different personalities and voices and things like that. And the kids, of all the things I did, and I have 3D printers and I have, we had CoSpaces, but of all the things that I did with them, this book was their favorite. And so this was just a really short clip of.
My legend is from the Yoruba people of Nigeria.
Nigeria.
I have to ask you. I am powerful of the Orisha gods.
So if you notice, so there's text, as the character is telling the story, there's also written in the book, there's also where they can read, but it's the visuals are different than what is actually on the pages. And but they can read the type or the text as it comes across the screen, and see the words as she's saying them. And then what was really interesting was, for me, was watching them interact with this type of technology. And so basically they use these images as the marker or the trigger. So through the app, they trigger from turning the page. So each page has a new trigger. And if you're familiar with QR codes, what's happening is they're turning images into QR codes. And what the kids wanted was, whenever they would see something new, they wanted it to activate. So I found that to be really interesting, is, they wanted to interact with it, and they wanted, it created a fun experience using, this literature and interacting with books in a fun way. And so I just thought it was a really interesting thing. And if anyone's interested, you can, I would go direct and buy from the author herself. So I just wanted to share that with you, that I found that she's got a couple books. So let's get started. All right. So another app that I like to use is Ijac, and it's probably the easiest of all of them. And it's if you're just doing something that's going to get a less than 100 views, then it's free. And so once you start getting a lot of people looking at your artwork, then they start charging, and it's pretty inexpensive. But Ijac is one that I'd like to show you. And this was just something really quick that I did for everybody that's a first timer. So what I wanted to do is just show you how to create your first AR experience. And this is basically just a piece of paper, and it has this video overlay. And so what I'd like to do is pause for right now. Let's stop. And let me make sure I'm not going too fast, and I want to answer some questions. So if you have downloaded CoSpaces and you want to try that, and you haven't figured out how to add that trial code, just let me know. And then the next one is Ijac, and I will show you. So Ijac, you have to download the creator. I guess it's the creator app, I guess. But I also just wanted to give you some ideas of things you can do with it. So this is one project that they So that's kind of gives you some ideas. They have events. The creator, he's an artist himself, and I think they've done a really good job with this particular app. And then they actually, that you can sell artwork now with NFTs. It's unlimited what you could do with this technology. So I put the link to the Ijac, and then if you want to try this one, you go to the creator, and then you're going to need to download it onto your, I guess you have to be on a desktop for this one. I'm not sure that you can use the creator on a mobile device. I know you can use it to view, but if you're on a mobile device and you don't want to use that one, then we'll do CoSpaces. So CoSpaces, and I'll put that, and I'll show you how to add that. So you're going to log in to CoSpaces. CoSpaces will work on any device. It doesn't need to be downloaded. And which is nice because it'll work on a Chromebook, it'll work on tablets, it'll work on anything. And they automatically update things. So as long as your IT department allows it, you can bypass all of the IT issues. So once you get in, yours will not look like this, but you want to go into, the license plan, and it looks a little different than this. So it's actually going to look, so you'd want a teacher account, and then you're going to upgrade to Pro. And then yours should say activate trial. So mine, I can't do it because I've already activated it. But if you have any trouble, just let me know. But this is what what yours should look like. And then it should give you, for 30 days, you'll have 100 seats, and you can go in. It's got a really good classroom management system within it. You can create classes. Kids can join classes. You can take them off of your license, on the license. They're really good technical support if you have questions. So some of you that are a little more advanced and have coding experience, there's a coding in, it has a coding engine, basically like Scratch, but then there's also another component that allows you to do, I guess it's TypeScript, I believe is the language. And this is where you would, if you're interested in Merge Cube. So I'm going to put in the, let's see, in our chat, I'm going to put a link to the Merge Cube. So this is a printable Merge Cube. And if you have a printer close by, so basically you're going to make a Merge Cube, and you can even make big Merge Cube. Sorry, you can't see mine. You can make it really big. You can make giant ones. And so I will tell you that the designs that you make in CoSpaces are proportional to the size of the Merge Cube. So if you make a really big Merge Cube, your designs will be huge, which is kind of cool because you could fill a room with animals from CoSpaces, or you could make the Merge Cube really small, and you can actually use just pieces of the Merge Cube. And so I've been using pieces of the Merge Cube to design, have the kids create books, and then each page has a different piece of the Merge Cube. So it's similar to the professional book that I showed you. And just really quickly, because our Ijac is so easy, I'll just go through it really quickly. So the way I made the little butterfly is they just added this. So I didn't realize they added this until today, because I had to, so you have to re-download the program whenever they have an update, because I had the old version. So they just added these panels. But just to keep it simple, I'm going to create a new artwork.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
We can't see the window, the Ijac window.
Oh, you can't? Okay, thank you. All right, let me stop sharing real quick and then start sharing.
I think you can only share one window at a time is the issue.
Okay. All right, let me get rid of some of this stuff then. All right, let's see. let me move this out of the way. All right, can you see where it says add artwork? No.
No. So presume you can either select like a singular. Oh, we kind of see it.
Oh, it's okay. I'm moving screens around. All right, let me stop sharing and then see. Screen share. Okay, I got it now. Share. All right, can you see that?
Yes, add artwork.
Okay, now I got to get my chat back. Okay, all right, so all you need is a JPEG and a video. So you can use anything you want. I'm afraid to try to go off the screen, but what I did, I went in Pexel, P-E-X-E-L. So I'll put that in, X-E-L. It's free. Pexel, X-E-L. Let me get the link for you, Pexel.com. So I went in and I just, I found a butterfly. And so I'll go in and I'll redo it. So if I'm going to go in, so I found this butterfly image. And so I upload it and then I go to next, and then I'm going to upload a video that I got in Pexel, which you can use anything you have on your desktop, on anything you have in your photos, just for trying it out. And then I'm going to upload this video. And then I could add sound if I want. It might not work because I've already created one with this image, so it might have a problem with the image. So then I say create. And then it kind of goes through a little bit of a process. And then you're going to need the Ijac app on your phone so you can view it. But it'll give you a QR code that basically prompts you to get everything that you need. And then from there, what I created was, and I didn't have a color printer, so I just printed this out. Now, if I take the Ijac app and point it at this image, it will, it'll basically show that video. And so it's kind of, I mean, it's really a cool thing that you could now, like I'm putting the links in the chat. So I could just create triggers on everything I'm showing you on my screen, and then your phone, we could all interact through an app, and then I could basically have it, you could just point your phone at my screen and it would point you to wherever I need you to go. So, so if you have the Ijac app and you want to scan this code, it would trigger, and then you would point your phone at the butterfly image, and it would activate that that video. So you're saying, well, you know, what good does that do me? I mean, I can just go to a link and see the butterfly video. But where it's really powerful is if, say, you have a piece of artwork, you know, and it's hanging in a gallery, or you have a flyer that you want to, you know, pass around, or you have a business card. It's the same concept. So you can create these triggers using images that trigger to a video, to sound, to something you've created in, you know, in a more sophisticated program. And so, that's Ijac. And then let me make sure I get you. So are there any questions? Am I going too fast?
I have a quick question.
Yeah, sure.
So like you said, the video, so you grabbed a video from Pexel and it sort of uploads to Ijac.
Yeah.
And then it creates a QR code in which you can then, if somebody points their phone, it will take them to Ijac and then open it up like that.
Yeah. So the QR code is only for the first interaction. So say you did a piece of artwork And you don't want somebody to go to a QR code and then go to your artwork. Like that's just too much work. You want them to just go to your artwork. So two things can happen. Say you have a show and you say all of my artwork is viewable through Ijac or Artivive, the first one. They have it already uploaded. You just walk from painting to painting and then you click them. You don't need the QR code anymore. Basically your artwork is the QR code. But like I said before, people are hesitant to download these apps. So what you can also do, which I think it'll get too complicated if I go into too much of it now, but you can use WebAR, which completely eliminates the whole app issue. So if you, and sorry if you can't see, I didn't realize that I can I'll keep going back and forth. So, so that I mentioned, let's see, XR. So this is one that I just found that is, you don't need to know how to code, and it is WebAR. So it's eliminating the whole app issue. Now it's a little more complicated. If you're just getting started, I wouldn't go this route. But having an app is a known issue with viewing artwork. So phones are going to get more sophisticated, where you're just going to use your camera. Google Lens is already trying to train everyone to use your camera to basically interact. So just keep that in mind. I don't want to get everyone too confused, but that's something you might want to consider. So I'll go back to, let's see. And then something else to think about is in Ijac, they are starting to incorporate WebAR. So there's some place, so this is their paid, where is it? Oh, it's up at the top. So there is, if you go back to just the Ijac app, if you're interested in trying to get around the whole app piece, then you should contact them. So they have a WebAR, and this is something new. I think it's a paid version, but see, it's no app required. So this is just something to think about. All right, thanks for the great questions. All right, so then I want to move on to CoSpaces. So once you're logged into CoSpaces, and I was going to give you the, so the merge cube. So if you have time to download the merge cube, if not, it's okay. You don't have to do it right now. You can do it later if you have time. Within CoSpaces, you can do virtual reality or augmented reality. So virtual reality, remember, is you're in a 360 environment. So what's really fun is to design in CoSpaces and then use a VR headset, because you're basically inside your design and you can look around 360 degrees. You can use the hand controls to go forward and move back. So you can create your own game or environment, whatever you decide within CoSpaces. So just a really quick little tutorial. This is the VR side. So the way I got in is in mine, you should have a CoSpaces here. If you don't have the Pro plan, and that's in the license section, you should have something that says activate trial. So you won't have access to all the tools if you don't have that code in there. So I'm going to create a new CoSpace. And then I'm going to go to the 3D environment. So that's the VR section. Merge Cube is here, but right now I'm going to do the 3D environment. I'm going to do an empty space. And then from here, it's basically drag and drop. So the only thing that I find people have trouble with is when they're brand new to this is just like navigating in a 3D environment. So right now, if you have a mouse, and I've noticed with kids, it's a little easier if they have a mouse. So I'm just on my trackpad, I'm using my thumb and then my finger at the same time, pressing my thumb and moving around. You've got a single camera, but you can add multiple cameras. But just getting in comfortable with that space is the hardest part. After you get comfortable in 3D, you're good. So I'm going to go to the environment and go to edit. And so they have built-in environments. So I'm going to use the moon just for fun right now. So now we're on the moon. And I go to the library, and there's people, there's animals, and if there's little arrows, so you can get other things. There's housing, so you can get, build rooms and houses and do things like that. There's a nature section. And cars, there's some items in here. So if you keep scrolling, there's more and more stuff. You can also upload your own files. So what I think is really fun is if you can, I don't know if it could upload Fusion files. It can definitely upload some basic Tinkercad files, but you can upload your own 3D models. So if you are building something and like there's times when I've needed, I don't know what I needed something, and I couldn't find anybody out in the world that had a version of it, what I needed. So I built it in Tinkercad and just uploaded it. Unfortunately, when we had Google Poly, which I don't know if you have ever used Google Poly, but if you did, it was great because people could upload their 3D models and you could upload models from Google Poly. But now Google disconnected that or discontinued that. But you can upload images. You can also do a web search. So say I want to look for some stars. I can do a web search. It uses Bing. It doesn't use Google. These are not the greatest images for this, but I just drag and drop, and then I can make it larger, and I can put it, back here when I use my camera. And then this is not really a great image, but just so you know that when you have anything in the library that you want to bring in, so I'm going to bring in, I'll bring in this little boy, and he comes in a little bit small. So you get these 4 tools. So the top tool is the rotation. So if I click that, I can rotate in 3 different directions. I can move it up or down, side to side, side. And then I can also, this is it's a little bit confusing. You have to hold and drag at the same time to increase the size. So if you just click on it and then try to drag the size, it moves it around. So you have to click and hold, and then I'll spin him around. And then you have to be aware of where your camera is. So your camera is what the viewer is going to see when you press play. So I'm going to move it back some, and I'll press the play up in the right corner. And then I can see him. And so what I'll do is I'll have him do something. You double click on them, it opens up another toolbox. And I can turn on the code, and then I can actually code him to go move around. I can code him to turn. I can do all sorts of stuff. But you have to make sure that code block, you click that code and make sure that top code feature is on. I can add speech. For our math teacher, there's a physics engine, so you can do physics. I can turn physics on. I can, there's all kinds of, in the gallery for CoSpaces, there's some physics projects, and you can go in there and get ideas or, improve what they have. You can do animation. This is the first thing the kids find. So you can do reactions, you can do confused, defensive. There's all kinds of stuff in here. You can do posture, so you can kneel down. I could have a whole story and have this character do different things. And then I could change the materials. So I could change the color of his pants to red. I can change his skin tone. I can have his hair darker. I can change his eyes. I can make, change the opacity. I can do custom colors. There's all sorts of stuff. And then I could have him hold this baby now that he's kneeling down. And then there's scenes. So you could do multiple scenes. You could duplicate this scene or add a new scene. We went over the upload. There's a snapping. So if you want things to snap to the grid, or if it's too hard to get things aligned, take the snapping off. And then there's the code. So for the coding, so if I wanted to have this little guy do something, so I can add a path. So I'm gonna go back and give him 100% so we can see. And then I go into special, there's paths. So if I wanted him to walk in a circle, I can add this path. And we'll have him action. So we'll have him dance. So he can dance around in a circle. And then I go to the code, turn on code blocks. It's very similar to Scratch, if you're familiar with Scratch. I go down to the third block. And I'm gonna have him, I'm gonna have he's casual boy. I'm gonna have him move on the round path forward. So it has arrows so you can go forward or backwards. And then I'll change the time to 10. And then when I press play, we'll see what happens. So he's moving on that path. He's dancing on that path. I can put multiple paths. I can put multiple people on the same path. And now you notice he stops. And so if I wanted him to go continue and not stop, I can go, I think it's in control. There's a forever block. So I can have him move forever. And then we'll play. So he'll go in one loop and dance along. I could add sound, I could add music to this. And then he's gonna go past that starting point and loop again. So within the coding engine, there's lots of things you can have them do. So, and then there's a physics section here where you can do all kinds of cool stuff. So that's the VR. So, all right. And so it looks like, yeah, Ijac probably wouldn't work on an iPhone 6. So, and then if Benny, if you're still here, then I'm glad you could make it. And that's good to know, Dean, about Fusion. So if any of you are familiar or not familiar with 3D modeling, Fusion is the step above Tinkercad. And I don't use Fusion, so if you have any questions, I can probably let Dean answer those for you if you're comfortable with that. But definitely.
Yeah, I'd say, you know, I actually did get that program Ijac to load up on my old iPhone 6. Seems to be working. Okay. And then, yeah, so far, if anyone's interested in Fusion, there are a number of groups on Facebook. I belong to one where we meet once a week, and we have a guru that takes us through the intricacies of Fusion 360. But it's a great program. So.
Yeah, yes, definitely, and it's free it's still free for educators, right?
There is a free version available, I think, for just about anybody, but it has some limitations. Otherwise, it's about a little under $500 a year. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's pretty sophisticated, so it's definitely a step above Tinkercad if you've outgrown Tinkercad.
Yeah, it does everything.
All right, thank you for joining in. Okay, so if you had a chance to download, print out a merge cube and you want to try the merge cube, so you would go about it the same way. The only difference is you create your co-space and you would click on merge cube. You can use any of these templates. I'm just going to start with the empty scene, and you basically do everything exactly the same. It's the same tools. The only difference is you don't have environments because you're in an AR environment, so you wouldn't see the actual environment. You're going to see your natural environment. You can do these filters if you want. It just basically puts a filter over your phone screen when you're viewing through, but it's the same characters, the same tools, everything works the same. So if you have a merge cube, or if you have time to print it out and make the merge cube, what you would do is you just take your characters and add them to, so I'm going to make him kind of big, and I'm going to put him on top of the merge cube. So the way this would work is once again, I have to download an app on my phone. So if you get into this, you're going to have plenty of AR apps because everybody has their own app. So you would download the CoSpaces app on your phone, and then you would hold the merge cube. So you have to notice the different panels. They're all different. They all have a different pattern, but they coincide with the merge cube. So if I zoom in, I can see this is the top of the merge cube. So it says merge on it. So when I view this with my phone, then you need to have that, basically have it in the same orientation. Now, the way that you view it is you go to the share button up at the top, and in CoSpaces, when you download the app, there's going to be, I'm going to share this unlisted, and I'm just going to make it a test. And then I'm going to you can allow people to copy or remix. So when you're in the gallery, you can remix other people's designs, or you can share yours and remix. So I'm going to share this. Now, if you want, it might be easier to do it this way. So there's a share button. So if you have a QR code scanner on your phone and you have the merge cube, you have to have the merge cube or a piece of the merge cube. You would scan that QR code, and that basically gets you to the app and gets you started. You can also use this share code. So in the merge cube app, there's 3 dots at the top. You click on those dots, and you can either scan with that, or you can just type that code in. And then when you play this, you're not going to see that purple. The purple is basically a green screen, so you can see around your environment. And then you're going to see this little boy or whatever you put on the merge cube there. And so Annie has added a student project. So is that a CoSpaces?
Sorry, yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
It's not my student, but
okay, we'll look at it.
Student of a teacher I know.
Okay, cool.
I think it's amazingly beautiful.
Let's close that. Oh, cool. So have you used the merge cube? Yes. I was going to show, is this, she's the one that created that?
No, that's a student.
Oh, that's a student. That is amazing.
Yes, exactly. Marie-Ève La Police on Twitter works a lot with, or used to work a lot with CoSpace and Merge Cube and that kind of things.
So if, this is a really good project, especially for art students and getting familiar with the Merge Cube. So what's good about this, and thank you for sharing this, if you go to the gallery, and actually let's go, I'm going to go out of here and go into, it's a, there's a lesson. So these are some other projects, but there's a lesson in here. Might have to, if you go to, oh, if we just go to CoSpaces, that's where it is. .io. There's a whole section on lessons, and that lesson is where you can see exactly how that's done. In resources, there's lesson plans. So if you want to get started and you don't want to reinvent the wheel and try to figure all this out, there's like building games. There's a Christmas one. There's a game creation. This is it. So this, and I will put the link to this in there in our chat. So this, yes, I will show the path again. I went through that really fast. So if you want to see how they do their lessons, if you want, also if you want to become a CoSpaces ambassador, they take ambassadors and you get a free license. So, so if you have a makerspace or a Fab Lab and you want to be able to have it and give CoSpaces feedback, I'm sure they'd be happy to have you. So it goes through, and then it also, all of their lessons give you a remix. So this is the original project that that Annie showed, a remix basically of this project. And it goes step by step of how to teach it, students can create things, but it's utilizing the inside of the Merge Cube. And then this is a link to the original one that this teacher did. So, but thanks for sharing that. That was great. So I'll just really quickly go back to the path. And the paths work on either a Merge Cube or the VR space. All right, so all you do is, we're gonna get rid of that. You go to the library and then go to special. So you have a couple options. This one is a round, there's a square, and then this is a straight line. But what's nice is you can modify any of these. So I'll just do the circle again, and it comes in kind of small. So I'm gonna enlarge it with this scale tool. So I just click and hold and drag with my finger on my trackpad. And then you'll notice it has arrows. So this is the direction it's gonna go in. So if I wanted to make this a little more irregular, I can just pull these blue dots or the handles. And I can also, like if I wanted to make it look like it was going over a mountain or a bridge, I can click on an individual dot and then pull it up and do variations. So there's, like I put butterflies on here, and so it looks like it's kind of flying around. All right, so then I make sure that the path, well, the path you don't necessarily have to turn the code on, but I think it automatically turns the code on. But you do have to make sure his code is turned on. And then I go to my code section. And if you go in the blue, it's the third, it should be the third one down. Sometimes it's not, I don't know how they get reorganized, but it should be your third block down, and you would, I'll just get rid of that. If I want to get rid of something, I can just delete it, or I can disable it, but I'll remove it. And then I just drag and drop him in there. So I want to move the casual boy on the round path forward, and then I can change the time. So I'll say 10. So it goes a little faster. If I wanted to make it even faster, I could do 20. And then when you press play, he should go up and around on that. So now that I change, it's not quite right. That's odd. Why it did that. It shouldn't actually do that. Let me figure out why he's Maybe, oh, it must be because it's a little bit below the surface. So I'll just take that out. So it's, I'm not sure. Sometimes if you import things either from Fusion or Tinkercad, the orientation will change. And there's, you have to kind of make some modifications. But if you use anything that's built into CoSpaces, it will come in with the correct orientation. So if I bring him over here, I press play, he should stand up straight. Yeah. And so then he'll go around that circle. Does that answer your question? How to add the pen? Okay, good. All right, any other questions? I know some of you are a little more advanced and I may be going too fast. So just let me know if you want me to go over any of the other things that I showed. Yep, see, I had the Kandinsky as a, and then I just wanted to make sure I gave you everything. So we got Ijac.
This was a really interesting presentation. Thank you.
Oh, good. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. I feel like we zoomed through it. You got a lot of information. And just so you know, so I try to use a lot of these for my own art, but then I mostly use them for kids. And so I'm always trying to come up with cool stuff for the kids. And I use all of them. Like there's nothing in particular that I always stick with. It's like sometimes I'll use part of one and then import pieces of it. And I've even used parts of CoSpaces in Artivive because you can actually use that merge cube because it's got that purple background. You can use that kind of like a green screen. And so I didn't really show you Artivive, but Artivive, you can do things on a green screen. And they add it, and it also has layers. So it's another one that I don't know if you have to download their app, but you can do a desktop version. But there's where is it? Well, yeah, theirs is not a download. You just log in. But I'll just show you really quickly because we have a little bit of time. So let me go in here. I don't know what I actually have in this. I don't have anything in here really. Oh, I do. So so all you do is you add artwork. So it's kind of like you have to give it a name first. So let's do the butterfly again. And then I'm going to add artwork. So it creates a new art. So it's the same thing. I have a JPEG and a video. So I'm going to select my my butterfly again. So I'll do my butterfly image. And see down here, you can do transparent. So let me see if I can do this real quick. I don't know if it might be a little confusing, but let me go back over to my, let's go here. All right, so if I go into my CoSpaces and I do this one and I press play, so see how it gives me that purple background. Well, what Artivive will do is because it's solid, you can say anything that's purple, drop it out. And so if, I don't know if that with Zoom and everything else, if it'll let me do it. But basically, if I took a screenshot video of this thing in play mode, and then I went over to my Artivive, I would use, I would want it transparent, and then it would drop everything out. You'd still see that cube. I wouldn't necessarily want the cube, but if I could figure out, if I could hide the cube with the boy, it would basically just have the boy. So I'm just going to do my butterfly video for right now. And then I could actually try to get some of the green out. So if I take this eyedropper and I say, I want everything that's kind of a dark green to drop out. And then I say, add, and then I want to adjust the video. And you could also use, like if you do use Tilt Brush or Medium or any of those programs, you can import that artwork into these and then make those AR. So even though you created it in a VR program, which is intended for VR, you could export that content into an AR experience. So it does take a little bit of time to upload, especially with all our Zoom and everything else. So can you explain that, Dean? The index, the different data streams?
Well, it looks like you, well, you created the image of the boy, and then you have what, a digital version of the merged cube, and then you have a physical
yes
version of the merged cube, and so then you're able to use your camera or some other input to capture the two images and relate them to each other. I guess I'm just trying to figure out, what is the merged cube for? I mean, how should I think about it? Is it something? Is that basically what it is, to get the different inputs to so you can arrange it into a composition that makes some sense?
Yes, I'm probably being confusing about it. The only reason, so actually the merge cube should be used just as the merge cube. I'm making it way more complicated. I was using it as a green screen, as a way to make a green screen. The merge cube one, yes, you can use the physical cube so that when you point your phone at it, you can view whatever you've created in CoSpaces. All the merge cube is this is 6 QR codes that CoSpaces recognizes to associate it with a specific project in CoSpaces. So that's why you need that code, that 6-digit code, or that QR code to take you to the right one. What I was using it for is because in CoSpaces you can do some really cool physics interactions, some random things. So I was basically using it as my my video device to make a cool video, and then I was hiding the merge cube so you didn't see it in my final project. So I don't know if that answered your question.
Well, I think so. I think it does. I mean, I don't think I was thinking about it quite right. It sounds like you're kind of identifying, like you say, it's got a QR code on each one of the surfaces of the cube, and you can kind of match that up with whatever model that you've created, which
right.
also can have a QR code. But the movement through space and all that other stuff you do in the in that other environment, I can't remember what you call it. The co-educational environment. Yeah.
Yes, and like we just saw the project where you can use the inside of the cube also. So I haven't done it yet, but I'd like to create where you basically just use one piece of the merge cube, and then you build a world inside something. So you'd have that piece taped on a piece of paper, and then when you view it, it actually looks like a hole. And then you could create inside it, but you're only seeing that one side. So within CoSpaces, in the code, if you go into the code, there's a merge cube. So you can hide sides of it. You can change the opacity. When you turn it, like you can have it hide everything except what's on one side. So you can actually get pretty sophisticated with this cube. And why I like the cube is because everybody can make their own cube through that paper printout. And so they can actually hold it in their hand. And just getting anybody started with learning AR, you can put a dinosaur on it and they can hold the dinosaur in their hand, and they can actually start kind of seeing how this works without getting too complicated. But like with my literacy project, what I want to do is take each side of the literacy, each side of merge cube, and then paste it on each page, and then use when the cube is turned, it triggers a new version of the story. So you would turn the page and it would basically be a new side of the page. Now, to do that in any other way, I haven't figured out a way to do it inexpensively, because when you start using Ijac or Artivive, everybody has to create an account. And if you've got 30 students, it's just that it gets too complicated. I found the easiest way to do it is to try to do it with the merge cube. And so if you want to stay in contact with me at some point, I'm going to have it completed. I've been working on it for a while. It's just not done yet. And I worked with kids this summer. When I found that O is for Ocean book, I kind of was testing it out, and I was like, I think this would be a good thing to do with them, because they really did enjoy that book. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, well, thank you. It answers at least part of the question. I mean, I'm so overwhelmed with all the information that you've provided today, because I just didn't know anything about this. I knew a little bit through Fusion, but I mean, this is great. So very much appreciate your presentation.
Well, I definitely will make these slides available. And I know I said I would go and give you links to everything, so I probably didn't do that as thoroughly as I had hoped. So we have a few more minutes, and they wanted me to save some time at the end. So I'm happy to take questions. I'm happy to go back and find links for you. Feel like there's just so much I wish we had a lot longer time, so I could give you a lot of information. But I would, if you have time to play with CoSpaces, I think CoSpaces is actually, it's really fun and it's really easy. Ijac or Artivive is also a lot of fun. So I'll just show you really quickly. The nice thing about Artivive is it gives you some analytics. So you can actually see how many times your artwork has been viewed. So say you did an art show, like I had an art show, and so I used my camera. So my camera just kept triggering over and over, but I can tell that people did actually downloaded the app and viewed it on their own. So, and then the other nice thing is it tells you, just so you know, when you're doing AR, you want to use images that have a high contrast and are unique. And like if I tried to do this again and use this same butterfly image, Artivive would tell me, you can't do that. It would, because it's within their AI system. It already recognizes that image. Now I could put that same image in Ijac, and I could use a different app, but what I can't use it within the same one, within the same environment, because it already recognizes it. And you have to be pretty different. Like if I took this butterfly picture and I put, this is a butterfly, and then I did another one and I said, this is an insect, it might actually say, it's too close. Like you have to give it a very distinct image so it can recognize. And you can see this actually is not, but this line art is, it likes that one much better than this, because I think because it's too much, it doesn't have enough contrast. And so, so I'll just kind of wrap up here. I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. I appreciate all the comments and all the feedback. If I'll give you my email once again, if you need to contact me, and I will be happy to share more information with you. And I will leave this up so you can see my contact information here. This is our nonprofit. Like I said, we have the mobile steam engine. So if you have anyone that needs technology delivered to their door, I'm in Florida, but I'm also in Maine. So I travel the East Coast, and I'd be happy to work with any kind of organization that wants to get started in any of these technologies. And so I'm happy to be a part of it.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Well, I hope everyone has a good evening wherever you are in the world.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. I'm glad you guys were able to join me.